Welcome to Coach on the Couch. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, visiting today with DC Everest Evergreens boys basketball coach Oliver Drake. Coach, you begin year number 2 this year, but let's first just take a pause. We'll reflect on last year, and I think probably where we start this discussion is Marcus Hall, obviously one of the premier players in the entire state last year. What was it like coaching a basketball guy like Marcus Hall?
Well, it's a privilege. Anytime you get an opportunity to coach somebody who is so passionate about the game and just was an outstanding leader. I mean, for what you saw on game night, he was even better behind the scenes, from a student to how he treats people to everything that he's about. And so it was an absolute privilege. He definitely really left a mark on our program, not just on the court, but the way he treated young players in our program, and obviously planted that seed with young players in our program that what's possible here at DC Everest if you put in a ton of work and do all the right things. So it was an absolute privilege to coach Marcus Hall.
As I said, last year was year 1 with the program, so making those building blocks and forming those traditions and standards going forward. Looking back on last year, what was just maybe 1 or 2 of your favorite memories with you and the guys from last year?
Yeah, it's hard to put 1 or 2 memories. I think the biggest thing for me is just the way the guys accepted being coached and being held accountable and accepted the standards that we're putting in play here and just really allowed themselves to be pushed outside their comfort zone, and I think that led to team success, having 18 wins and winning a playoff game, playing in a regional final game, beating a really good Appleton East game. So I think it's just those bonds and those relationships that were formed. We had some outstanding seniors. We're going to miss them like crazy, but our relationship with the players that graduate from our program is just beginning, and I can't wait to see what they accomplish in their future. So I think it always goes back to that relationship piece. Well, really appreciating the way the guys worked and the way they held themselves accountable and the way they allowed themselves to be coached. It was a pretty awesome group.
I mentioned, so year 2 is underway now. Let's tell us about those first 2 weeks of practice this year and how that compared to last year. Now that you've got another year, a whole year under your belt, a lot of those guys now know you. Obviously, the incoming freshmen, that's a different thing, but kind of compare and contrast year 1 and year 2, those first couple weeks of practice.
Yeah, our guys have done a phenomenal job. Obviously, anytime you have returning players in a returning system, our players have really done a nice job of setting the tone and doing the things that we want to have done, the things that take no talent, to the way that we talk to each other, to the way that we coach each other. Our players are really starting to understand that it's got to become a players run program. If it's coach driven, it can only get so far. And our players have done a really nice job of taking that leadership role, making sure things are squared up, on the court, behind the scenes. And that's always fun to see the growth from year to year, but certainly there's a ton of growth that takes place from year 1 to year 2. And all the credit goes to our players. They've done a great job with that.
Talking to DC Everest Evergreens boys basketball coach Oliver Drake. Let's talk about this year's group of seniors. And Coach, I'm cautioning you right away. You don't have to mention names, because once you mention one, you forget one, you get all kinds of trouble. But tell us about the expectations. What do you want out of a senior group?
Well, our 3 seniors, Colin, AJ, and Owen have done a great job. And what we want from all of our players, but certainly our seniors, is just that sense of thankfulness for the opportunity to do what we get to do. This thing goes by really fast. And so them making sure that they leave the program better than they found it. They also leave with no regrets. And that starts with working. And, some people want things to be microwaved. Nothing good can get microwaved. Like it's got to be in a slow cooker. And that's the work that we do every single day, and making sure our seniors really set the tone with just getting after it. And our 3 seniors have done a great job of that thus far. And so we want to see them end their career feeling like they left it all out there, and they're off to a good start with that.
You might give me a different answer to this in February, but here early season, what's the one part of your team that you want to lead with right now, whether that be, shooting, defense, whatever it might be? What's that one thing that you can sit on the bench and just count on these guys? I think they've got it figured out this early in the season.
I think just the cohesiveness. This group really is good to each other. They've played a lot of basketball together. So just really looking as one unit, whether it's offensively, defensively, running our sets, running, our quick hitters, based on just seeing us be cohesive, one unit, willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. So I've been really impressed with our cohesiveness, really impressed with our guys' willingness to accept roles and to take those and run with them.
How would you like to answer that question in February?
Well, I'm very optimistic that our defense will be something that we can hang our hats on, and our rebounding and value in the basketball. I really feel like if you defend at a high level, you rebound at a high level, and you value the basketball at a high level, you got a chance in every game. Shots come and go. You can't hang your hat on great shooting nights every night, but you can hang your hat in those three areas. So I would say those three areas: just being really tough with the basketball, being a great half court defensive team, and making sure we win the glass every night from a rebounding standpoint.
As a coach, what do you do differently on a road game versus a home game? Because there are different things that happen. You know, the bus rides and this gym and the locker room somewhere else. How do you help your guys be better on the road games?
Well, I think number one is just settle in. Just everybody kind of taking a deep breath on the road. I also think that the road games are great opportunities to kind of have us against the world, and knowing that you're going to go into another gym and another place, and so we just look at road games as unbelievable opportunities. Obviously, you want to compete and win in everything that you do, but there's a different feeling when you win on the road. So I think that it starts with just really settle down, relax. Let's get some good looks early in the game. So getting some quick hitters that hopefully allow our offense to play inside out, get some high percentage shots, because shooting percentages typically drop on the road. Not always, but typically they do. And how you can negate some of that is, I think, get some higher percentage looks. So as a coach, running some quick hitters and some sets to get the ball inside early, I think is a great way to settle in on the road as well.
Of course, people are going to watch your games in person. They're also going to catch them on our broadcast. You mentioned your seniors. I'll mention Cohen Preby. Who are maybe one or two other guys that we're really going to get familiar with this coming season?
Yeah, well, you hit the nail on the head. Cohen Preby, we've got 2 games under our belt, and he's been outstanding. And he has really taken the next step in his game. We're really excited about what we've seen from him behind the scenes, and he's put it on display for 2 straight games thus far. And we expect him, and we need him, quite honestly, to do that every night. And he had a great example in Marcus Hall, so he's kind of taken that torch from him. I really think Casey Studeman's going to have a breakout year. I think he's a first-team all-conference caliber kid. He's averaging a double-double right now. I think he's just scratching the surface. So I think we have 2 outstanding juniors. They're all conference caliber kids. And so, those are the 2 guys right now that we really feel like are ready to burst on the scene. Obviously, Cohen's been doing it, and Casey had a good year for us last year. But I think both of them have improved tremendously, and we need them both to play like all league guys if we're going to take that next step as a program.
Coach, you mentioned the league. You participate in the Wisconsin Valley Conference. SPASH got a lot of athletes, probably some basketball players in there too. And Marshfield's got some height. They've got some basketball players in there too. A couple teams are probably going to struggle on the bottom of it. Where does your team fit in Valley Conference play this year?
Well, that's a great question. I certainly hope we're a team that can compete with anybody on any given night. That's certainly what our goal is. But as you mentioned, Marshfield, till somebody beats them, it's their league. They've won it back-to-back years, and we respect that program along with all the programs in our league. Stevens Point has a great nucleus coming off an outstanding football season. And I think when you have football success, that a lot of times leads to basketball success. And Point had a good year last year, and we expect them. I think the Wisconsin Basketball Yearbook had them picked first. Obviously, had Marshfield picked second, Wausau East picked third, and us picked fourth. So for whatever that's worth, we certainly aren't going to let outsiders determine where our season goes. We will use that to our advantage, being picked fourth in our league. And we just know every night, if you don't come ready to go in our league, you're going to get beat. And so we respect all our opponents. We know on any given night, any one of the opponents in the Wisconsin Valley Conference can knock us off and beat us good. And so we got to be ready to go every single night. That's what makes conference play so much fun. There's no surprises. It's a war every night. Great coaches, great players, great schools, and we look forward to the test.
Coach, since the beginning of time, the Valley's just been a tough, gritty conference. You're going to leave a game with a bruise, with a bloody nose, with something. Are there certain things you do to help your guys get ready for what has always been just a tough, knuckle kind of a conference?
Yeah, I think you got to play a great non-conference schedule, and we've already started to do that. We've taken on Superior and Eau Claire North, 2 veteran teams that have great returners. Tonight we play a Schwabenon, who's got an unbelievable roster coming back. Well, later this week we play Eau Claire Memorial. We play Appleton North, who played in a sectional semifinal. So we play such a tough non-conference schedule. I think that's the only way you can get ready for our conference, or any conference for that matter. But certainly a conference as good and as deep and as ours and as rugged. You got to challenge yourself in the non-conference play, and we are certainly doing that this season, and we're excited to see what's in store.
Of course, Coach, you want to win those non-conference games to prepare yourself and your team for the tough conference schedule ahead. Is your team, and again, you want to win the games. Let me make sure that's clear here. But tell us about your team's ability to take a loss and learn from it, and then go on to the next day.
Yeah, well, we've already had that in play, right? Like, we played Superior in the opener. They're a team that's coming off a sectional final appearance and has their top 3 scorers back. And we got down 14 in that game, battled all the way back to tie it in the second half, and lost a close game by 5. And the next night we turned around and played Eau Claire North team, who has all their top scorers back and has some really good players, and won a game in overtime. So we've already shown that ability to have a short memory on games that leave us with a bad taste in our mouth, bounce back, improve on things that are under our control. And so that was a really, really good thing to see from our group early in the season, especially coming off losing a player like Marcus Hall. You just don't know early in the season, can all the guys take the necessary steps to get early season success against really good non-conference opponents. And so that was really, really fun to see our guys battling 2 veteran teams and finding a way in the second night of that.
Visiting with DC Everest Evergreens boys basketball coach Oliver Drake. Coach, we'll begin to end our session here today. We talked about the road games. Now let's talk about games at home, and especially on game day. What are some of the techniques you use with your guys to help them have better success on a friendly home court?
Well, I think number one, making sure that we have a pregame routine. So we have a schedule, and we allow our players to determine that schedule, as the JV's game is going, to come in and have a group stretch, really start talking about matchups, start talking about the game plan, get a basketball in their hands. So there's a whole routine that our players have developed, and that I think gets them in the game, gets them in a good game mindset. But I also think, again, not complicating things. Sometimes less is more. These guys got a lot on their plate beside basketball, and really looking at everything as an opportunity and not as any pressure or anything like that. Just everything is, man, this is pretty cool. We got to be really thankful for these opportunities, and let's just seize this opportunity. Let's have a lot of fun while doing it. And there's nothing better than working together and relying on teammates in anything you get to do in life. And this is just prepares them for other roles and other bigger jobs that they're going to have later. And you really using basketball as a tool to help them with that.
Coach, give or take, you've got about 12 home games before the playoffs, and that home crowd can make such a difference in those home games. I want to just give you the floor here and talk to your families in the district, your alumni, the other kids in school, and tell them to come out and support your boys at home.
Well, I just tell them we have great kids in our program. I mean, they're outstanding people first and foremost. And DC Everest is a great school district full of great people. We have great parents in our program, do a lot of things behind the scenes to make our experience really, really rewarding and healthy one for all of our kids. We got great students in the forest. When that gets rocking, there's nothing like it. And so I'd just encourage everybody to get out and have a lot of fun watching us play. And I know our guys are really thankful for all the support that they receive in our community as well. We have an outstanding community here at DC Everest.
DC Everest boys basketball coach Oliver Drake, best of luck this year.
Thank you so much. We appreciate everything you guys do. You guys do phenomenal work. So thanks so much for everything that you do. It's outstanding.
Whether you're just beginning your educational journey or seeking a new opportunity, we're here for you. At North Central Technical College, we have unique partnerships with 4-year colleges that allow you to transfer seamlessly to and from our campus, saving you time and money. With hundreds of transfer options available, the path to a bachelor's degree and a great paying career are just a step away. North Central Technical College. Start here, go anywhere.